So, here you find me yet again in the same park. It's Sunday afternoon. I've just finished my week of working. A little bit overcast, however. Nice temperature. Summer in Mudgee, Australia. And I'm not sure what the temperature is, but 23 or so. Nice and pleasant. Bit of a breeze, unfortunately, but beggars can't be choosers. And I've just finished work at the Pavilion at Low Wines, and I'm not sure how much information I should be sharing. Someone's going to stalk me and hunt me down in my sleep. With all of my 2 subscribers and 0 views. But no, just finished working there and had a chat to a colleague of mine who is, I wouldn't have a clue how old he is. He's somewhere between 25 and 60, and I wouldn't have a clue what end of the spectrum he would be. But we just had a conversation about me moving away to Vietnam, and he wished me all the best in that endeavour. But he said that I should consider moving to Switzerland for work, which is where his wife is from. She's Swiss, and she's a lovely, lovely lady. But I just, it doesn't take much to get someone talking, and I think that an exceptionally valuable thing to be able to do is just to be able to communicate with someone in such a way that you can draw some very valuable information out of them. And just 2 nights beforehand, I was chatting to another colleague of mine at the same business about what she does for a living, and she works on yachts. And she has travelled all over the world. Started when she was 25, and to be honest, when she said that, she's going, I got this certificate 10 years ago and this one 12 years ago. When did you get into this? When I was 25? Shit. She looks like she's 25. But lovely lady, and a lot to learn from these people. It's something that I considered doing this year, was something that I considered among many things doing this year, was crewing a boat. One of my first thoughts, in fact, the first thought for my gap year, my 2020 year, was to go up north and work on a pearling ship, Pass Paley Pearls. I believe that it was out of Darwin, which I didn't know was big on pearling. It's more a Broome thing, I thought. However, sounded interesting. Moved on to thoughts about crewing a yacht. In the Greek islands. Went away from that, went towards getting a working visa in the United Kingdom, in London, or maybe a rural town. I didn't really get that far. Then I went to working in Vietnam, and that went away from working in Vietnam because I decided, I'm going to get paid this much money and it's just not going to be worth it, and it's going to be this and it's going to be that. And so I decided, why don't I just work in Australia, go away for a couple of weeks, and then, go on holiday, come back and work, go on holidays, come back, work. I have a bit of a cycle that I formed because I earned good money here relative to countries like Vietnam, where my dollar would go a lot further. And then I began to plan, I should say, in the very rudimentary stages of planning a motorcycle journey from north to south across Vietnam with my friend who had never left the state before, which I thought would be a terrific journey for both of us. However, me having absolutely 0 travel experience and knowing nothing about travel, I was thrown in the deep end a little bit, and the more I researched, the more I realised how much I didn't know, and before long it became too much, and I went back to the idea of working in Vietnam. But after chatting with this friend of mine who worked in Switzerland and his Swiss wife, I decided, maybe this is something I want to do later. He said he was only about 55 Australian dollars per hour. What that is in US dollars, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I thought that was particularly interesting. And he was doing unskilled labour installing solar panels, long days with meal allowances and all sorts, of which he didn't spend. He just put in his pocket. But the story that I'm trying to say is, you can learn an awful lot. I just got bitten by an ant. Here it is. What a rascal, Yahweh. It's part of the fun of setting up your blanket on an ant mound, I suppose. Compromises must be made. But now in a very short time you can find out a lot of information, all of which you couldn't find through a Google search or something of the like. So I'm starting to make a note document where I keep track of all of my valuable contacts, keep their phone numbers, etc. We have a dog doing some acrobatics. Eccentric old Mudgee people, I suppose. I've lost my train of thought again, thanks to the... Oh, sorry, I just coughed straight into the microphone. Side note, I'm not much of a small dog sort of person. I'm not a small, yappy Jack Russell. And please, if you do have one of those dogs, don't feel offended. It's just, I will enjoy the company of your dog as I stay there at night. However, it's not something that I would choose to have as an asset to my own home. Though, more of a gorgeous kingfishers on the river. Some sort of noisy bird species over that way. And the dog's still doing acrobatics. Anyway, enough of the commentary of Wilson Park in Mudgee. I'm starting to get really excited for going away. I've messaged Kim, let Brian know. I said to Brian, I'm going to find out tomorrow morning, mate, as to what I'll be doing and when I'll be leaving. Truth is that I have a bit of an idea as to when I will be leaving. I believe at this stage it looks like it'll be around the 10th or 11th, 9th, 10th, 11th, somewhere around there, as I believe he wants me up. My plan a month and a half ago, when I dropped my marker on my calendar, was to leave on the 17th. However, I think it'll now be the 10th, and I'll be starting work on the 16th. So, all very exciting. My friend who was there with me when I dropped said marker, I told him, I got my 4th job. And he goes, where? I said, Moyne. This is over Snapchat. And I sent a picture back of a face like... And I don't think he actually comprehended that Moyne is in Vietnam. I think when I said I got my 4th job, because I'm currently working 3 jobs, was working 4. Got my 4th job, he figured that I got another job in Mudgee, a company called Moyne. However, I think, and look, he's a lovely guy, and he's someone who I think has a lot of potential that isn't being used at the moment. As it's true, his apprenticeship as a kitchen builder, as a kitchen maker, but almost a glorified glorified carpenter, I suppose, a specialised carpenter. But it's something, I said to him the other day when him and the other friend of mine who I planned on riding a motorcycle from north to south across Vietnam with were both together. I said, how about we go on a holiday? And he goes, oh yeah, I can take 4 days off. Like, mate, I don't want to hear about your 4 days off. Pardon me. Yeah, mate, I don't want to hear about your 4 days off. Either you're coming for 2 weeks, or I just don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear, oh, I can't take time off work, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. If you don't want to put in the effort, don't come. So I kind of want to show to him, just a surprise, hey mate, I'm leaving to Vietnam next week, and he'll go, is it a nice thing to do? No, not particularly at all. However, me and the majority of my friends have a relationship that is the expected way that you would do something. But the spontaneity for me, I think, is a big factor. But telling my work colleague about, oh, I'm not sure when I'm leaving yet. I said, I might get a message tomorrow morning saying, tomorrow being Monday, I might get a message tomorrow morning saying that he wants me to hop on a plane on Wednesday. And he said, oh, don't be surprised. I said, I'll see you next weekend. He goes, oh, I hope I do. If we don't know. So that's true, but so I'm sort of emphasising the fact that I'll be leaving sooner than I am, because I only let my boss know of my favourite job that I've ever held. I only let her know on Friday night. I was offered the job Thursday morning. It was either Thursday morning or Monday morning. Thursday morning or Wednesday morning. But let her know in person as soon as possible. But yes, a couple of people have alluded to the fact that Kim may shed a tear upon my leaving. But I just said her name. I should beep that out. My female boss, as she shall now be known, is I'm just thinking, do I actually have to beep that out? I'm not sure. Do I have to have her permission before I go mentioning her name on YouTube? Think about it in my own shoes. If someone else made a YouTube video talking about me, would I care if they had my name in it? No, I wouldn't. So, you now know her name, but she said, I would be second on the list to return. Oh, second? Who am I second to? And she goes, the sommelier, this guy who recommended I go to Switzerland, the sommelier at this company, who in fact is not leaving. I can't imagine he would be leaving anytime soon. And yes, so provided he's still there, it looks like I'm top of the list to be back. But no, what a wild couple of days. I mean, I still, hopefully tomorrow morning I hear back about visas, get a little bit more information. I'll give him a date. Told my grandparents last night about my plans to go to the NAM, and they were very excited. My grandfather and I are both into, and I'm just getting up on my knees to check, yes, no one has stolen my car yet. I drove a 1980 Peugeot 504 beige, and diesel in fact. My grandfather owns a 1928, I believe, 1928 Triumph Super 7 and an MG Magnet. And so we're car people, him and I. And for a while, from last year, it's now the 22nd of February 2020, and late 2019 we were discussing going to Cootamundra to my great uncle's house, where he owns about 15 odd rare collectors' cars, to pick up the other half of his Triumph Super 7. No, it never happened. And I told him, hey, I'm going to Vietnam in 2 weeks, in 16 days, I believe it is today. Maybe less. And he said, oh, but our trip to Cootamundra, this and that. I said, right, well, we can go the 2nd. I've got a car show on next Sunday, the 1st, in Wellington. Wellington, of all places. One of the ice capital of Australia. And I'm not talking about cold snow ice. I'm talking about the get your crack pipe and heat it up and smoke this stuff. Ice capital of Australia. And if it's not, it'd be the 2nd. It'd be in 2nd place to none other than Nowra. So much so that there were documentaries made on the two towns. But it sounds like I'll be leaving rather soon. So I said to him, yes, to Wellington on the 2nd. To Cootamundra on the 2nd. Trish said, okay, I'll see what I can do. I'm waiting on a response for that. And just so you know, I don't actually talk to people in the way that I'm talking to this camera. I'm not quite this eccentric. I normally talk like this. Hey, how are you? Good. Yeah, chit chat. But I don't talk in such an authoritative manner, such that I may be delivering 7 News as Peter Overton. But I do. Part of the sense of humour that I do employ is being awfully specific. This afternoon I was washing dishes because the dishwasher broke. I wasn't doing front of house and I normally do, and my arm was rather oily, and I said, looks like I've just gone swimming in the ExxonMobil oil spill. So it's that, it's not humour, I suppose, but it's that depth that I create in my conversation that make people go, who the hell are you? And I'm going to stay away from you before you decide to slit my throat. The more I talk, the more I think that I should just shut up, to be honest. But no, it looks like it's actually going. Back to my normal voice. It looks like it's going to be an exciting, couple of weeks ahead, full of all sorts of adventures. Leaving on 10th, 11th, 9th, somewhere around there. Have a couple of days in Ho Chi Minh City. I really want to go to the Ben Thanh markets. I remember going there when I was 9 or 10. It was quite a fun place then. I'd love to go back there again, poke around. I'm looking forward to all of the fruits and such goodness that can be found there. But there's a lot to look forward to. And a lot to enjoy right now as I lay here on an overcast Australian day, ready to read my bag of books that I brought along, and my little NAM plan. That's probably written backwards, in fact. It looks like it's got ink all over it as well. My Vietnam plan. Might write a little bit in that, however I feel like I've just divulged more than I planned to in this conversation. See you next time. I need a better catchphrase than see you next time. Ciao, amigos. I can't speak any Vietnamese. If I could, I would say goodbye in Vietnamese, more than likely. But it's good night from me, and it's good night from him. Good night.